Good afternoon everyone, Marco here. So today I'm going to do another quick video on Dr. Gardam, and let's call it the unofficial interview he gave to the Standing Committee on Health. So actually, before I watched the interview, I noticed there was, let's call it what it was, a shitstorm on Twitter that was going on over this apparent interview. So I'm just like scrolling through the comments, and a very evident theme kept bringing up that Stephen Myers had gotten into this crazy wild exchange with Dr. Gardam. He was the pit bull that was sent from Dennis King to shut down the poor bureaucrat that was, looking to shine light and truth that was going to save Prince Edward Island's healthcare system. If only he would have been allowed to do his job, then the island would be saved, everything would be sunny and roses, but that wasn't to be because Dennis King got involved politically, and now he's trying to silence the truth by sending big, nasty, mean old Stephen Myers. And anyway, that's the impression that I got reading through Twitter, and I was like, whoa man, it sounds exciting. I don't know, I'm really looking forward to watching it. It's like reality TV, only way better. It's kind of like when Jersey Shore came out, it's a really, really interesting reality TV. It's bad for you. It's like, you shouldn't watch it. It corrupts your soul, definitely does. Makes you a worse person. You feel kind of dirty watching it, but then again, you also can't help yourself. So, that's where I was. I was like, okay, I'm gonna load up the YouTube and see what's going on here. And unfortunately, when I watched the interaction, I was sorely disappointed. Both men, I found, were quite civil. They had disagreements, but they handled it civilly. Neither one insulted the other one. They both kept their voice down. And just so that we're all aware, because I know the Green Party can't understand this concept, but when you're spending $1 billion, when you're trying to spend $1 billion and people get together and they're trying to make it work, there's going to be disagreements from time to time about what the best course forward is. And it's only natural that politicians and bureaucrats, or even people within politicians, are going to have disagreements sometimes. And how do you hash out those disagreements? You ask pointed questions, you get answers, and you keep probing for the truth. You keep going back and forth. And yeah, it might be awkward. I get it's kind of like un-Canadian that Canadians in general have this sense not to offend the other person. But realistically, if you want to get some results, sometimes you're going to have to disagree. And I thought, I probably have disagreements with Dr. Gardam, but regardless of that, I can appreciate that both men had an attempt to be civil about their disagreements. And what really unfortunately happened is, after I watched this and I came to this conclusion, unfortunately the CBC, I guess, took this exit interview with Dr. Gardam as an opportunity to dogpile on the Progressive Party, which I guess they view as this conservative thing. And basically, let's call it what it is. CBC's mission is to protect the left or liberal agenda in Canada. Their state media, that's their objective. And so I don't know what it is about the Progressive Party they don't like. Maybe they don't like the color blue. And so they kind of I definitely feel it, that they try and undermine them a lot. And this is a perfect example, because they picked up the narrative from the Green Party and they started pushing it as well, that, oh man, Dennis King must have sent big bad Stephen Myers to just set him straight and suppress the truth. And they kind of ran along with that with their various media articles. So before I talk any further, it's a very short clip. See it for yourself and you judge what happened from it. And then after we watch this clip, I'll kind of give some further points. But so let's get to the clip right now.
Though based on the audience, you give a different approach, and I can give you a set of examples if you want to talk about
Please do.
The Prince County ICU.
What about it? No, please, no, I want to hear this, because
Well,
that's a strategy that's been played a lot,
Yeah.
which I speak out of both sides of my mouth,
Yeah.
and it's a way of trying to sideline me to say
I'm not
that I'm
trying to
against the
sideline
medical
you.
school.
I'm not trying to sideline you. I've never tried to sideline you. And I think that people who've been around here with me for a long time, I'm just straight. I'm trying to be as straight as I
So
can.
tell me the story. Let's talk about it.
Well, did you tell the public in Summerside that you think the ICU, that the ICU should be open?
Yes,
Did you tell Cabinet it should be open?
yes.
No. No, you didn't.
What I said about that ICU is that it cannot stay open if we don't have the people, but that my preference has always been for it to stay open, but it cannot stay open now. Show me the minutes.
I'm putting my reputation on the line against yours, I'm telling you.
It's your word against mine.
Good.
I've been very,
I've never once lied to the public.
I have been
13
very open, saying that I have wanted that ICU to stay open, because why wouldn't I? Because we need resiliency. If there's a fire at QEH, we don't have an ICU in the province anymore. I have said the challenge is that we cannot maintain the model as it is now because we can't recruit people there. I've never changed that, so perhaps you misheard me.
Okay guys, so from what you can see, I think it's pretty mild. I think it's pretty reasonable. I don't think there's all this need to freak out about big bad Stephen Myers going in bullying poor Mr. Dr. Gardam, but you know, that's the narrative that the Green Party and unfortunately CBC are trying to push on everybody. So, you know, you make up your own mind, but like what's really going on here? Well, I think it's honestly, first of all, it's just a basic misunderstanding. I think from watching the whole like 3.5 hours of Dr. Gardner's testimony here, basically what I think the main argument he's making is that Islanders kind of got this expectation that's way up here about the level of services of healthcare that they are entitled to. And what he is saying, like, okay, like we're not there. Like maybe if we can get some changes into how we recruit, and you give me more of a free hand, I can get you like kind of over here. But at the end of the day, there's still going to be this massive gap that we just can't get there. We just don't have the resources, whatever not. There's a lot of other challenges. And so what he is saying is that if that's the reality of the situation I'm at, we're going to have to pull back some resources and consolidate around Summerside and the QEH, and these basically rural hospitals or rural satellites are going to have to like decrease some of their access, decrease some of their services. And he is saying this because like he is saying that if you force me to send doctors and nurses to these other areas, they're just going to get burned out and they're going to quit, and we're going to be worse off than if we just pull back now. But obviously my preference would be to have every single hospital fully staffed, but unfortunately that's not the reality PI can achieve. So let's do this. This is crisis management, okay? We gotta pull back so that we can, to the best of our ability, preserve what we have now. That is what I think the argument is he is trying to make. And I think, honestly, from this interaction, I think Myers misunderstood him a little bit, or maybe he didn't. We don't know, guys. This meeting that Dr. Gardam had in the cabinet meeting, maybe he did go in there and explain none of this nuance and was just like, I want to close the ICU in Somerset. I don't know why he'd want to do that. It doesn't make sense to me that he'd want to do that just because, like, I think everybody involved wants to give more access. But like if you can't give access, you gotta pull away if you don't have the resource. But either way, like it's honestly a pretty mild argument. I don't know how it even makes the media as it did, but I do know why. Let me explain to you why. It shouldn't, but let me explain to you why. So the thing is that Myers is, I guess he doesn't even notice it, but he's pretty much like a troll in that even in this committee, oftentimes he will say, if you guys haven't noticed yet, I keep getting re-elected by a bigger margin every election. He doesn't even know it, or perhaps he does, but that is extremely triggering to the woke crowd in PI and all the Green Party members. They can't stand it. They can't stand people like him. You want to know why they can't stand people like him? Let me tell you. Because in Canada, this woke crowd and old school liberals, they view themselves as just better people than conservatives. They think that they are the natural leaders of Canada, especially the old Liberal Party. They definitely think that. They think they're more compassionate than you. They think they're smarter than you. They think that they should be in charge that they should be able to take your money, lay down rules for you, and that you should just obey and listen to them because they are so much better people than you. And so when I suppose a conservative, if that's what you want to call the PCs, I just call them progressives, the Progressive Party. But anyway, now that they gotten in power, to them that's like blasphemy, that's like an aberration, that's like not supposed to happen, that is wrong, okay, that's a mistake that needs to be rectified. There is no way that they should be in power, that the PC should be empowered. They should be empowered, they should make up the rules. And what has often happened to conservatives in Canada is that they're made to feel shame for their beliefs. They're supposed to be quiet, they're supposed to be meek, they're not supposed to really argue for their beliefs. What has often happened in Canadian history is conservatives have been shamed. That kind of started to change with Stephen Harper. Stephen Harper didn't take on the media to the level that Poilievre does, but Stephen Harper would kind of deny the media interviews. He wouldn't do a lot of them. He wouldn't do a lot of press conferences. He just kept them on a very short leash, and then he was very careful about picking local outlets because he knew the media in Canada was against him, the greater media, and they were never going to give him a fair shake. So he chose to kind of ignore them, try to bypass them. And now we have this new approach, which is kind of like Pierre Poilievre really embodies, which is just you know what, I'm not going to shy away from my conservative beliefs. I'm in the right. You guys are wrong. You guys, it's proven. Look at the results of your governments. You don't know what you're doing. I mean, how can you defend Justin Trudeau's record? It's undefensible. This is why it's exciting. I have a lot of disagreements with Poilievre. I don't think he would really get Canada going in a right direction. I think I'm going to write a full article about that. But I think he will be a lot better than Trudeau. But realistically, the one thing that I do like is that he takes the press head on. He doesn't shy away from a fight. He knows, before he gets in front of a microphone, he knows that he is looking at people that hate him, that believe that him and his beliefs should never come anywhere close to the Prime Minister's office, and he knows they're coming out for blood. And so when they try to attack him, he attacks them right back. The perfect example is Theresa Wright, that basically asked the most ridiculous, loaded question I have ever seen. It was just disgusting what she attempted to do. And instead of him just playing the meek little dog, which is what these liberals really want conservatives to do, is to be meek, to just take the abuse that comes out their way. He fights right back, and which is why people love him. Which is why Stephen Myers keeps saying that the percentage of the vote he gets bigger every election because exactly of that. They see the people in his riding probably see the attacks to smear him. And what those woke idiots don't realize is that the more you go for these stupid attacks, and people see right through them as just baseless attacks that are not grounded in actual reality, that you're helping him. You make him look like a saint. And you're doing the same thing with Poilievre, with these recent attacks. This is why the middle class has completely left the Liberals, because you keep going for these personal attacks on Poilievre, and people see right through them. What you're basically saying is that anybody that supports Poilievre or supports Stephen Meyer is some dumb brute who can't make up his own mind, that the wall is completely pulled over their eyes. And guess what? When people feel that you're attacking them in that way, they're not really enthused to come and vote for you, okay? So let me give you a piece of advice, lose those types of tactics. I don't think you can help yourself. I think when you make such stupid, baseless attacks, you're doing it because in some weird, creepish way you feel better about yourself, which speaks a lot about the type of character you are. So I don't think you can help yourself, but let me tell you that this is why you're losing. This is why you're going to lose. This is why you're going to lose the country at the federal level, and this is why you're losing on the provincial level, because you keep going after people in a personal manner that is not grounded in reality. So anyway, I thought this was a fascinating little interaction, because you get to see kind of how the CBC is clearly even in PEI trying to push an agenda. And when you look at the situation for yourself, you'll see that the narrative they push is not based on reality at all. But anyway, there's so many more clips we're going to get through. Probably going to take us a good 2 or 3 weeks to get all of them. So I'm going to leave this for now, and I'll catch you guys all in the next video. Bye for now.